All right, my future millionaires and freedom fighters. Welcome back to the channel. So, a lot of people hit me up, right? They slide into my DMs, they ask, yo, 25-year-old financial guru, what is your secret sauce? How'd you get here so fast? How do you make so much money? And I tell them the truth, the raw, unfiltered truth. But guess what? Nobody ever believes me. They want some fancy, complicated answer, some secret trading strategy, some complex algorithm, but the real secret, my friends, it is ridiculously simple, and it is probably going to piss off a lot of people who are still stuck in the balance trap. Because here's the cold, hard reality if you want your life to actually change. If you want to escape the gravitational pull of average, you are going to need to get extreme. You are going to need to learn how to rewire that beautiful brain of yours. I wanted to make a video on this specifically today because there is so much chatter out there about finding balance. It is everywhere, work-life balance, some exercise here and there, some gradual change. Oh, it is okay to progress 1% a year for the rest of your life, they say, and honestly, that just makes my blood boil a little bit because I've really noticed, I've really honed in, especially for anyone in their 20s. That balance, for too long, it keeps you average, it keeps you complacent, it keeps you stuck in the mud. And if you genuinely truly want your life to transform, you are going to have to go extreme. You need to get going. You are going to have to go balls to the wall. Okay, I don't know how else to say it nicely. And before you roll your eyes and click away, hear me out. I want to talk about the science of why extreme behavior will literally rewire your brain, and the 4-habit system that I've personally used whenever I needed massive change. And guess what? I am actually doing this right now. Because even your boy, the 25-year-old financial wizard, sometimes feels a little stale. I've been trying to get back into the full swing of my business, being a bit too complacent on that. The last couple of months, the last couple of weeks, I've really been changing that. So I just want to preface this video with, I am literally doing this beside you. We're in this together. I want to break down how my thinking is. And big, shout out to Dan Coe. His content was a small inspiration to this, because when I watched his video, I was like, dude, my story is obviously very different than his, but it lined up with everything perfectly. So, I want to first talk about why does your brain even need extreme in the first place? And, no, I am no scientist, but I did some digging, and his video helped a ton. Your brain literally only changes under pressure. Think about neuroplasticity. I think that is how you pronounce it. Your brain's ability to rewire, it requires literal intensity. You need to think about it. Moderate stress does absolutely nothing. It is like lukewarm bathwater, but extreme stress, that creates diamonds. That creates actionable things. That creates life changes that will actually do something for you. When you go extreme on something, 3 powerful things happen. 1, your brain creates stronger neural pathways. It is awesome. You literally become smarter and more efficient. 2, you enter a flow state way more easily. And I don't know about you, but that makes me focus a lot quicker and a lot smoother. It is like the world just fades away, and it is just you and your task. And then 3rd, you start seeing opportunities that other people don't, that other people completely miss. You can absolutely crush your competitors this way, and I guess a specific time when extreme focus really changed how I thought about problems was when I started my business. I was looking at this thing and I was like, wait a second, it is actually not that difficult to get to 10,000 a month. Because look, I just signed 5 clients at 2,000 a month each, or X, Y, and Z, or whatever deals I had back then. And it is like, when all these people, when 99% of the world is complaining about money and saying how difficult this is, if you just rewired your brain, obviously, that only changed because I actually took action. But when you start thinking like this, that is when everything changed for me. And I know there has been some guys commenting on my videos talking about this. And it is very interesting, so I'll call it like the obsession advantage, right? It is not that obsession is unhealthy. It is very strategic if you use it properly. Obviously, if you are 45 years old and you just had a couple of kids, it is probably not the best time for you to be obsessing over a business. I mean, unless you can balance it, but this is what I am talking about. You can sprint. You are going to have to relax for a bit. Sprint, relax for a bit, versus coasting your entire life. That is how you become average. That is what I want to get rid of in this video for you, right? So, when you are obsessed with something, your brain literally filters reality differently. That is what it did for me 3 years ago. You notice things others don't. Opportunities just start to appear out of nowhere. But that is not luck, right? That is literal neuroscience. So this could be, investing. This could be, again, starting a business. I think a lot of people are noticing and hyping up the AI train, but I do think that is here to stay. Even when that bubble kind of slows down a little bit, I think that is like going absolutely nowhere. So that is just kind of what I want to talk about here. The next thing is your focus shapes your world. Your mind processes so much information per econ, per day, per whatever, but you only grasp and actually retain such a small, single, tiny digit percentage of that. And what determines what you notice, what you are obsessed with. Again, right. When I was obsessed with business, suddenly, I saw client opportunities everywhere. Suddenly, people wanted my services. Same world. But a very different filter, right. This is why extreme focus isn't about working harder necessarily. It is about seeing a completely 360 different world than other people around you. And this is why I've made videos in the past about leaving your hometown, getting out of your parents' house, and just going out on your own and expanding those walls. Because if you are so freaking tunnel visioned your whole life, nothing is going to change. Dude, right? And we can go on to the next point. Evolution demands intensity. This whole world was built on intensity. Building a freaking, we could talk about a huge skyscraper real estate property in a matter of time. Like there is deadlines for a reason. You need to become intense for a reason, right? So nature, technically by law, doesn't reward moderate effort. Evolution happens through extreme pressure, creating crazy, adaptations. I talked about AI already. I am talking about the internet. I am talking about real estate, all these different things. It only works intensely right. So I guess a chaotic period for me was, building and scaling my business, of really realizing like, okay, these guys have freaking paid me, like, I have to figure this out. I have to fulfill and do my service delivery and learn how to do the service. Even though I already did. I am talking for new agency owners or new freelancers. If you don't know how to do it, dude, it is time to figure it out. It is time to pull up your big boy socks and be like, okay, it is time to freaking do this. Like, I got to figure this out. Why would you just sit there, spin your wheels, or not even sign a client in the first place? That is why added pressure is a good thing, right? And I guess this goes on to the next one. I've made a video on how to reinvent yourself before. Maybe you just need to disappear, right? You can't add good habits on a bad foundation. You can't add good habits until you subtract the bad ones. You have to minimize the shitty habits that you have. Because most people fail because they're trying to optimize without eliminating anything first, right? For the next 90 days, just disappear from your normal patterns. Not forever, but just long enough to rewire, long enough to condition yourself that this new reality, this new world that you live in, is better than your current state, than your current situation. So I guess for me, again, this was a controversial video I made about 2022, when I isolated myself from my family. I saw them obviously for Christmas and, a birthday here and there, but I was gone. I was out from friends, from family, I literally broke up with my girlfriend during that time because I was just so focused on building my business and looking back. I wouldn't change a thing because that allowed me the freedom now. That allows me to take a breather now and actually take my head out of the weeds and be like, it was worth it, dude. But holy crap, like I got some cool stories to talk about. I've made my money and it was awesome. I may not have been the best person at that time and I would change a few things, but overall, dude, it was the best thing I could have ever done. Was just disappearing, getting out of my rut, and changing my life, and it was the best part. So, I guess the subtraction strategy, right? I'll call this like playing defense first before you add anything new. Audit your phone time, eliminate like just shitty relationships. I'll just call it how it is. If you've got a boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, that you are not happy with, dude, it is time to call it. It is time to leave. And I could mean like toxic family members. I don't care. Just get rid of the low-value relationships, and then create like literal hard barriers between you and your distractions if you need to. Throw away the credit cards if you are spending stupid money. Delete the apps if you really need to. Like just set hard parameters and respect yourself enough, dude, to stop getting distracted with dumb stuff. Right? That is the main thing you have to do here, and there is no other way around it. So what I eliminated during that time was, like I said, video games. That was a big one, actually. I've told this story before, I won't harp on it too much. But in 2022, he had a sunrise or sunset, apartment, where from about 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon all the way up until the night, I was just blaring with sun, and my PlayStation 4 was in the corner of my office, and when I wanted to boot it up, way back when, and fast forward about a year and a half after I started my business, I am like, what the hell, why isn't this thing working properly? And then I realized it is because it was just sitting, just soaking up the sun for that time because I didn't play. I didn't have any time. All I did was work and work out. That is all I did during that time. So I am not saying you need to go that extreme, but definitely subtract the shitty things in your life. You would be amazed by even. If you don't do what I just said in the earlier parts of this video, you literally just subtract the toxic kind of like, think of them as cancers if you must. That will make your life 50 to even 90% better. It's just getting rid of the junk, right? And this could be physical or mental or both. Doesn't matter, but just get rid of that. Okay, going on to now the 4-habit system. This is what I talked about earlier in this video. What can you actually implement? What are the key takeaways or items that you could do, Tom? Or Tode if you wanted to. First thing, one project. Pick one major project, not 3, not freaking 8 things that you are working on, not day trading plus, your full-time job plus, trying to start freelancing. Just one major product or projects. Okay, multiple priorities equal no priorities. I put that here because it is so damn true. Your focus is to split. If you're trying a million things at once, okay, so for 90 days, 3 months, this project gets 80% of your creative energy. Everything else is maintenance mode. Everything else is just not saying, drop everything, right? Don't drop your health. Don't drop your, partner or whatever, or your, responsibilities. But just really focus on this, really for. Most people, it is going to be starting a business, hopefully. Or it is maybe getting back in the gym. Or it is, managing your finances better. Whatever it is, you need to focus on that. Okay, I've already talked about what mine were, but find your one project. 2 is one learning source. So stop consuming the freaking 12 different creators. Stop watching my videos if it really comes to it. And start implementing. Pick one book, one course, own mentor, one creator, whatever the hell. And go really, really deep instead of like 12 feet wide, right? I spent personally 6 months obsessed with the Becker stuff in the 2020 phase. 2020 era, I swear to God, he was the only person I watched when he sold his, all his furniture, all his fixtures, and just lived in a bummy ass. It was actually a really nice apartment, but when he just sold all his stuff and lived in an apartment, that is when I really honed it. He was the only person I watched, I swear to God, for like 5-6 months during that time. I am not saying you need to go to him specifically, but just find one person, a one thing you could obsess with, and that is your learning source. Okay, that is how you really learn from A to Z. I would say right now is really good with Cole Gordon, Alex Hormozy. There is a million people you could choose from. It all depends on what route you want to take. But generally speaking, one source of information, third part is one mind practice. I don't care if it is meditation. I am trying to get back into that myself. I don't care if it is journaling. It doesn't matter. Okay, just pick one and do it daily. It could be breath work. I don't care. Extreme focus requires your discipline here, and this builds it, right? So you don't need a freaking 8-step morning routine, just one thing, one good thing for. I guess for me, mine is walking. I am a big steps guy.